Hey guys, it's Sammy here, and today I have a question for you. Are you the type of person who logs on, craves some pew, and wants to have it ASAP? Do you enjoy a challenge? Are you also the type of pilot who finds cost-effective setups to be ideal instead of shiny and high risk? Then have I got a treat for you. If there was ever a good time to make a grand return to the PvP scene for the Rifter, it is now. The Rifter is a Tech 1 frigate, and it used to be the king of solo PvP back in the days. Then CCP made some changes, added more ships, and the Rifter slowly but surely went down the board for its usefulness. Now, however, its time has come again. I believe the Rifter right now is the most juicy and critical spot is in the most juicy and critical spot a ship can ever be in Eve. Don't know what I'm talking about? No worries. Here, let me explain. Alright, so let's be honest. The moment you show up in a system and you see a Rifter on D-scan, if the words free kill doesn't pop in your mind, then there's something wrong with you. Or is it? Ah, see? That's the sweetness of it. The Rifter right now is one of the best fishing ships in the game, in the sense that you can and will get fights. Sometimes too many fights, because elite PvPers collecting kill marks will try to stomp you with their shinies. But still, a lot of fights, and to be honest, that's the dream, right? The easiest way to get a fight is to make yourself be a target, and there's no better target than a frigate, especially a Rifter. Fact. Now the fit right here that I have is it's not my fit. I'm not the proprietor of this. I don't know if you can be the proprietor of a fit, but whatever. The idea is that I got this fit from a corp mate that he'd been using for a couple of days, and to some good success. And I figured I want to do a video about it because I tried it myself and it really is that good. So my corp mate got it from another dude from the same militia, whatever. The idea is this is not my fit, but this is the fit. You got 200mm AutoCannons, you got an AB, a Scram, a Web, a DC, a small Ancillary armor rep, some resist for your armor, and a Gyrostab, because the Rifter's DPS is, well, it's not that great. Let me actually show you. It's about 127 deeps with my skills, which are not bad skills, just not everything at 5. And in the rig slot, you got some transverse bulkheads for some hull. So let me talk you through the fit, right? Let me talk you through each of the modules. The 200mm AutoCannons, you can fit 150s, of course, and make some room if you want to fit a plate. But the idea is you have to be as fast and as nimble as possible. For two reasons. One, you have to, if you're rolling up close and you're faster, you can mitigate some damage by orbiting so close that your opponent's guns can track you. And two, you can dictate range against other frigates who could be slower than you. Even 100 meters per second counts towards dictating range. And the reason why I use 200mm AutoCannons is because, as you can see with faction ammo, your fall off is 1.9 kilometers. With, of course, with my skills, if you go, let's see, with all 5, yeah, you get about nearly 10k fall off with faction ammo, and that is great because you can fend off scram kitters, right? And that's awesome because the Rifter cannot be scram kitted. Little known fact, projectile weapons almost always fight and fall off no matter what. You're not gonna be able to fight in your optimal range, so just throw that away from your mind. You're always gonna fight and fall off. So that means at that range you can easily fend off scram kitters. And also if you fit, here let me show you. If you fit Barrage, you get about 13.5 with 1.5. You get about say 15 kilometers total range. So if you're good at manual piloting, you can actually fend off regular kitters as well. So that's a big bonus. That is a big bonus. Now let's get back to using faction ammo, just for the sake of the video. So we use an afterburner, a scram, and a web. We don't need a cap booster because, as I've said earlier, most frig fights happen in the span of 30 seconds. The average time frame for a frig fight. So as you can see, your cap lasts 1 minute with everything running. If we cut off the AB, we get 10 more seconds. Okay, never mind. So we don't need a cap booster. Our cap is fine for an entire fight. You can swap the afterburner for a micro drive if you really want to, because you have enough CPU and PG left. But the reason why I keep an afterburner is most often, if you see it, if you're PvP in a faction warfare space, right, and you're using the plexus, the beacons to fight, most often you can actually catch kiters at the beacon if you're fast enough. Just overheat your AB, your web, your scram, and you should be able to catch them. I actually caught a couple of slicers myself in this manner, and actually, honestly, it works. But even if you don't catch them, like I said, with the fall off ranges from your 200mm autocannons, you should be fine to avoid to fend off scram cutters and maybe even cutters if you either slingshot them, because you can also try to slingshot, or you just try to manual pilot and hope to get a couple of shots off and scare them away. But if you use a microwave drive, that's also possible if you want a PvP and no-sec with the Rifter. It's a lot easier to catch cutters, of course, with the microwave drive, but the problem is that if you end up fighting another brawler ship, you cannot dictate range. You're basically dead in the water, right? You're stuck at whatever range your opponent dictates to you. And while autocannons have decent tracking, they do still suck at if you're not the one that's dictating range. So that's a problem. That's why I choose to use an afterburner instead of microwave drive. But then again, I'm also PvPing in a low sec faction warfare space, so it makes it easier for me. DC is standard. Small ancillary armor wrapper is just to keep our tank kind of cycling and going. As you will see, I actually fought another Rifter who was plated fit, who was actually only buffer tank, and we were doing roughly the same DPS. Maybe I was doing a bit more, he was doing a bit less, because he was using he didn't even have Tech 2 guns, but nonetheless, he barely broke my hull while I was still repping with the SAR, and even when my Nanite pace ran out, I was still repping his DPS easy. So I definitely use an active tank over a full passive tank when it comes to solo PvP. Not in every situation, but for the Rifter, I definitely keep the small ancillary armor wrapper. An adaptive nano to kind of boost up our resistant armor, just to help the small ancillary rep a bit better. And by the fact that there's not enough CPU to actually try to fit anything else. I mean, you could fit a meta tracking enhancer to boost a bit your range and your tracking, but I found that this is just a better item to have. And one gyro, because the DPS sucks without it. As you can see, it's 105. Well, it doesn't really boost that much, but still it helps. It helps with overall DPS and the rate of fire, which also sucks. And the 3 small transverse bulkheads is to beef up our whole HP from a puny 400 to double that, easy. The reason why I use transverse bulkheads and not the armor ones that boost up your armor HP is strictly because of speed. I do not want to become slower, and it's with a DC, it's a lot better to beef up your hull, because you have nearly 60% resist across the board, and you get a lot more if you have more hull than you would have more armor. And even if you use armor rigs to boost up your HP, you want to complement that with a plate as well to get as much HP as you want. And then we go back to the passive buffer rifter talk that we had earlier, and it doesn't work. So you for implants, no, not implants, boosters. You could use a standard drop booster, you know, just to facilitate a better tracking if you're brawling another setup and you're fast enough and you want to get under his guns, but you still want to track with yours. You can use a small, a standard drop booster to help you out. Let me see if I can find it real quick. There we go. Standard drop should boost your tracking from sub 400 to nearly 500, which is pretty good. Or you can even use standard exile to boost up your repping power. Or if you're feeling like you want to spend some money, you can even use the agency Paralancia DB7. It's like an Aston Martin name for a car, to boost up your DPS. It doesn't give you all that much, barely 9 DPS, but if you want to kill stuff a bit faster, then you can use it, no worries. Right, so this is pretty much the fit that works. Now, to show you guys what I'm on about, I'm gonna let the video roll on, and you're gonna see not just a couple of fights. You're gonna see about 5 or 6 fights. I can't remember. Yep, 6 fights is about right. Where I take on some awesome ships and come on top with the Rifter. So be amazed.
Unorthodox.